My LG TV cuts off the picture.
I've heard of LG TVs cutting off the top and bottom of the picture when in a 16:9 aspect ratio. It was fixed usually by switching to 4:3.
My satellite receiver is set to 16:9.
And a lot of older shows were shot and still sent with an aspect ratio 4:3. If you have two black bars on it, that's why.
I thought the TV should automatically adjust for that.
You can set it for a native display setting so it automatically adjusts. You can get problems if it has zoom turned on too.
That's under the picture menu, I think.
I've heard of this problem occurring if you are using a non-HD connection for HD shows.
I have had the same cables for ages. And it isn't something as obvious as having the problem for old black and white shows and not for modern ones.
Modern shows are all HD, but try watching a show from the 1990s or 1980s and see if the problem occurs, because those shows were shot in the old aspect ratio.
Older shows are coming up with the same black bars as the newer ones.
That doesn't mean the settings or your cable box aren't messed up. For example, they may have a button on them to let you set the AV aspect ratio.
I could tell if that was the case by switching inputs.
Sure, and if you have the problem for cable but not for satellite or on-air TV, the problem is the cable box.
On-air TV is so retro.
So watch media via an app, and if the problem is only for the cable shows you aren't watching on demand through the app, the problem is the cable box.
If it is the cable box, I have to call the cable company to fix it.
They may be able to do a factory reset of settings or replace it.
That only fixes it if it is just the cable box.
You could check the resolution on your TV. If the resolution in your settings isn't the exact resolution of your TV, you can get black bars on the sides or top and bottom.
I thought if the resolution was off, it just stretched things.
That depends on the TV and its settings. However, you can try upscaling the resolution in steps until the problem goes away.
At least that's a free thing to try to solve the problem of it cutting off the picture.
I can't say the screen wasn't burned in with a permanent dark bar because you watched a DVD in movie aspect ratio and it burned in with dark bars on the top and bottom.
I knew not to do that.
It doesn't mean there isn't a problem with the TV. But only a pro can tell you if you've got a dark bar on the TV because the display screen is failing.
If the LCD is failing that way, I know I need to call for service or buy a new TV.
You know it is the LCD or at least a board when the dark spot starts at one corner or end of the display before spreading.
That's the start of a horror movie, ending with a repair bill.